Okay. 응답하라 여친.
Go to the in to the 실.
Back to the 경 to the 쭉.
Yeah.
Hey, we're on it. We're on it. Speaking of being on it, Jane, you have been on it with your therapy sessions.
Yes.
That are marriage.
Couples
Yes,
therapy.
couples
Yes.
therapy. And I have never done, well, actually, there was one we did when we were getting married, and we actually got married in the Catholic Church, and they kind of made us do a
like
thing.
a premarital counseling.
Yes. But that was it. I have never done couples therapy since then, and that was well over no. How long have you been married? What year is it? I was married in 2008. It's 2023.
So 15 years.
Okay.
15 years.
I'm so glad
That's
you
a
can
big
do
one.
that. So yeah, I haven't done it since, but I know that you've been going. And how many? I think it's important for us to talk about it because I think a lot of people are interested in couples therapy.
Yeah.
And you're okay sharing this, right?
I'm absolutely okay.
And how many
sharing it.
sessions have you done?
We do twice a month, and we've been doing it since August.
Yeah.
July or August, since the summer. I'm going to say August, maybe early August.
What prompted you to start couples therapy?
I think it was...
Was there like an incident that triggered it?
There was not one single incident. I would say it was a lead up.
Who suggested it?
I suggested it first.
Okay.
And I had suggested it at different periods in our marriage. There was a time where I did therapy just by myself.
I see.
Years ago. And we just didn't have the time or bandwidth to make it a couples therapy, even though I think it would have been really helpful at that time because it was a very stressful time when both of our kids were very young babies.
Yeah.
Ruby was
how many years are they apart?
They're 2 years apart.
Yeah. A lot closer than mine are, yeah.
But I think like this past summer, spring and summer, things kind of came to a boiling point where our communication was just off.
Okay.
And things were fine if we just didn't confront each other and if things were smooth and if both of us played our parts and roles. And I think I was getting very burnt out.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of the
mothering, right?
Mothering and the mental load and just feeling like everything defaulted to me. So
so the parental role was a huge part
parental
of what
role
drove
was
you.
a huge part, and I think just one word that keeps coming to mind or kept coming to mind at that time was me being the orchestrator of everything. Yeah, and me feeling like I had to be the one to communicate and plan and execute and mastermind everything. Yes, which was very hard. Yeah. And it just felt like we were just, and on Ben's part, he felt that was being helpful to me, was just kind of letting me take the reins. And there's so many times like I don't want it, or if it's something mutual that we decide to do, then I need the buy-in too from him. And so I wouldn't say that was the only thing, but I think summer really brought it out because I stay home and
because you're fully in charge of the kids' schedules and what they're doing
fully
for the
in
summer.
Charge. Ben's year is the same. Is like, he works every day, you know, like, and so there's not seasons where he's dealing with
the kids stuff
kind of shift. And so it was all me, and I think I was just feeling a lot of the pressure of it. And then summer in Seattle is when we do all the socializing, and so all of that,
and summer's so short, and you're like, you got to make the best of it. You have this pressure, especially with our good weather. You have to go do all these outdoor activities. there's a
so
pressure.
it was really hard because
Yeah.
I was feeling very super burnt out during the week with the kids, and then on the weekends we're turning it on to be with other couples and other
and you're
families.
naturally an introvert, like,
I am,
so
yeah.
you didn't have the time
But
to charge.
yeah, I felt like I was being depleted during the week, and then had to be
go
super
on the
weekend. And then in order to have no conflict, I had to make sure I had to line everything up, make sure that everything's smooth, and I don't want to be in a bad mood, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that really weared away at just our partnership, where we just weren't communicating very well at all.
Yeah.
So we had a lot of like big arguments and miscommunication, and it was very same, like cyclical, you know, where we would be good and then it would fall into the same exact pattern. So I think it was all of that, like feelings of frustration, and then him not hearing me not hearing him, and we're like, we needed to do something about it, and we need to actually make time for it and be intentional.
And how many sessions have you guys done so far? Two a month?
Yeah. It's been a dozen at least.
How do you feel?
I feel good. I feel good. So it's interesting because I think it's the difference between women and men. There came a point near the fall where Ben thought, okay, so did we graduate? Because we had worked out a lot of the pressing matters at hand, and we were being better about
but
checking in
thing, right?
with each other. And I never at any point thought we're good now. Like, we're done.
No. But that's the thing. There is no graduating.
No, there's no
because, and I think that's the biggest lesson I've learned in my 40s. We rush in our 20s to get somewhere, or we like with our careers, with what we're trying to accomplish, even with our kids. There's like, once we get through this,
right?
Like there's always, and now I finally understand there is no getting anywhere.
No,
there's just here. I mean, you can plan.
I love that you bring that up, because never in my life have I thought I've arrived.
Yeah, you never get there. I never thought that, but I thought I would get there. Did you think that? Like, did you ever think, if I just get through this, I will be here?
Yeah, I think I've definitely thought that. And then you get there,
and you're like, it continues on.
Yeah,
it doesn't stop. You know, one of the things that my mom and dad would say to me is, like, so I had no freedom growing up. Like, I was always home. I didn't go to any parties. I didn't do anything. I was just always home. And they knew it. And they said, once you get into UW, then you can do all you want to do. Like, it was, so I looked at that. I think that's the biggest thing. Or when I was in Korea and my parents had left me behind, I said, once I get to America and I get reunited with my parents, my life will start. I will finally have people who love me, because I was with aunts and uncles who didn't want me around. I was like, once I get to America with my family, I'll have with the family. Yeah. And then that never happened. And then they told me, once you get into college, a reputable college like UW, and you don't shame us anymore with your existence, then you will have all the freedoms. Because it was so pressed upon me. I mean, I really, you know how some parents want their kids to be doctors and lawyers?
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I never had that. I was always told that you're going to embarrass us. Like, I was such a shame to the family. My whole existence was. So it's like, get into college so you don't look like trash. And I did. And I thought, okay, so my freedom is supposed to start. It never happened.
Ugh.
And it's because I was still on same, like, lockdown. I was still this idea, like, if you get somewhere, you're gonna find some kind of new arrival, or you've arrived.
Yeah.
The thing is, that doesn't exist.
No. I think you gather tools along the way.
Yeah.
To help you better navigate whatever comes your way. But it's this process of continuously applying learnings.
Life is a struggle.
It's a struggle. It's hard. I think this was the first year where I was like, marriage is hard. It's hard because it takes genuine effort.
Especially when you got little kids.
Yes. You have to want to be there. And you have to want to work on it.
Yeah.
Even through the hard. And so, because once you reach that point of having no hope, then where do you go? So I think that was scary to me because I felt that.
Wow.
I'm like, if we're not getting through to each other, that's
scary.
That's really scary. So I had,
and that was this year.
Moments like that, yeah, this year. And so, I mean, thankfully, Ben was the one who got that rolling.
Yeah.
Reached out and looked into
therapists
urgency. In the area. Yeah. My big thing was, whoever it is, they need to be informed in our Korean American background.
Absolutely.
Because I don't want to go to a therapist who has no like cultural kind of lens.
No.
So they have to know that, because that shaped us, that formed us. That was part of who we are and who we were when we entered the marriage.
Yeah.
And they also have to be informed in like Korean church background, because I think that was super formative in how we entered the marriage, because we grew up at Korean church, and I think being a part of that culture, I think it lent itself to me not saying a lot of stuff and really kind of falling back on like, well, gosh, Jane, that's not like really, I shouldn't really be that kind of wife, and I need to like be okay with certain things. And I don't know, it's something about that. And I think that also hindered us from seeking professional help for years. Yeah. When it could have benefited us a lot earlier when we were having struggles.
Honestly,
earlier.
Everybody should be getting therapy.
Everyone should.
It's just, I mean, it's a privilege, but.
So that I want to point out that's a huge part of it is we have the bandwidth and the privilege and the means now to do it.
So
and it's the privilege of time and resources that we have now to do it and to afford it.
So when Ben asked, like, are we graduated, do you think he doesn't like it so much?
I think he really likes it. I think what's been so helpful for us is we just have different personalities.
Yeah.
So he can swallow a lot more and be totally fine with it. For me, it just it starts to like stifle me, and I have to let it out.
Yeah.
But sometimes he's not receptive. It's hard for him to do it, because like I just kind of like bubble over, and then it gets very emotional.
That reminds me of me and Adonis, because he says, I don't have a problem unless you have a problem.
That's exactly what Ben says to me.
I'm good, but it's you that's not good.
When you're good, I'm good.
Yeah.
So then it feels like all the pressure is on you.
Yes.
And every time
you say that, but then when shit hits the fan, he comes out with some receipts, and I'm like, oh, what? You can't do that.
Yeah.
I brought up the problem.
Yeah.
You can't all of a sudden have problems.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you didn't bring it up before, you don't get to bring it up now.
Yeah. Yeah.
That pisses me off.
Yeah.
To no end.
Yeah. Yeah.
But ultimately, I think it's really wonderful that you guys do it. And I think I get therapy for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Adonis really is such an even-keeled person. There are things that I notice. Our husbands are, I think, alike in a lot of ways, but also different in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
So I noticed Ben's into fashion.
Yeah, I mean,
and I didn't. Adonis could give a fuck.
Yeah,
like he does not. Could give to
Yeah.
But I noticed when Ben was like, I'm thinking of the Chanel boy bag, and I was like, for Jane? No, for me. I was like, what? And then I like as big as it gets, it could look like a briefcase. I was like, this man gets fashion. So that's an element that you guys enjoy it together.
We do enjoy together.
So when I put on a brand name, anything, Adonis, no fucking clue. Like, does not, I don't know why did you pay so much for that? But so he has more of a, like, he's into elements that Adonis would just shut off on. Adonis, when it comes to that arena, he's like, I don't know what's Chanel to Gucci. I have no idea. But there's more elements with Ben, like, having fun with you in that way.
Yes. So I think what we realized is we're a lot more similar than
that's what I was gonna say. That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, and we both get the very same way. Stubborn. In communication, and that's where the stalemate happens. Because neither of us backs down.
That's what I was actually. I know it was a roundabout way about it, but I noticed that you guys.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, there might be a little bit more.
When we're good, we're great. Yeah. Like we're like besties and we like get excited about similar things and we can enjoy a lot of things together. He loves going to like your comedy shows.
Oh, yes, I love that.
That's why I like bringing him because like, he can hang.
That
right?
I love because not all husbands like to come to my shows.
And I don't have to drag him.
Yeah,
except,
I can tell he wants to be there, which is really nice.
Yeah.
Adonis, I would have to drag.
Okay, but he was so great. He's like, Ben and I were just in awe at Ozhan's karaoke party because we're like, Adonis. I just love that man. Like
he
is
so a musical man.
Yes. And Ben just loved how he has the same face every time, but he's like, he will be there and he will sing backup for you and be so committed.
Yes.
But you guys are opposite.
We are opposites.
And I think that
and your personalities even are similar. You guys are kind of like introverted, extrovert.
Yeah, I think so. So that's good because sometimes we can compensate for each other when we're in the same space. But then so our fights are not big blowout fights. Yeah. They're like silent fights.
They're kind of like, it kind of is like a little grinding.
Yeah.
And then it kind of builds up. Whereas me and Adonis will just be out of nowhere. Explosion.
Yeah.
But and he'll usually be like, I didn't have a problem until you had a problem.
Chemical reaction. Poof. And then it dissipates or it's resolved. For us, we kind of have to like struggle on the same track.
I think that's harder because ours is like take it shione. Like it's like boom, blowout, reset.
There's nothing shione about our fights because we're like thinking. We're thinkers, both of us.
Yeah. So I'm not a thinker.
Well, we'll say something, and we both have done this. I mean, now we're like almost 12 years into the marriage. So it's like we know each other so well that we can anticipate how the other's going to respond. We don't want that because it's like, oh, I remember like how that did not go over well. So I'm not going to say that. Yeah. But how do I get my point across without...
You're all both plotting to take each other down.
Without triggering this. And so therapy has been helpful in that way because... we're still parallel, but we're speaking to a professional. Yeah. And she can see and point things out to us that we may not be aware of. Yeah. And it's given us the ability to kind of recognize where and how things go south. And
that's great.
Also,
where does it go south?
So I think for me, it's very important that I don't feel alone or abandoned. And I feel like, I knew this about myself, but my therapist pointed it out, is I operate with no margin. Like I'm such
a perfectionist. Yeah, I sense that about you.
That's what I expect from
others.
My partner too. Yeah. Others and my partner. And then
but I can also tell that you've given yourself grace over the years because I can see where you came from.
Oh, yeah.
Motherhood does that.
You just can't contain it all.
You can't. Motherhood is the most humbling experience I've ever fucking had.
I've let so many things go.
There's no way to control everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I can see that in you. I can see that you came from a very, like, you like to have your ducks in a row. You came from running things in a regimented way. And you now, like, have entered the stage with family and everything. You got to go with the flow at times.
Yeah.
And I see that.
Ben's very good at, so that's where we're different, is he's very good at going with the flow.
I think that's malehood.
Is it? Yeah.
I feel like their gender gets so much because we don't have room. We get criticized so much. Mm-hmm. I think being a man, you get so much praise for just fucking existing.
Yeah.
Like, we talked about this. Men just carrying a diaper bag, like, wow. Are you fucking kidding me? I carry that shit all day long. Mm-hmm. But, they're expected to do so little and given such acknowledgement when they do.
The bar is on the floor.
Yeah.
Like, totally.
It's like, and we get scrutinized by our peers. We get scrutinized by our mothers. We get scrutinized by in-laws. Like, it's constant. It's never enough. Did you breastfeed or formula feed? Did you put your child in private school or like we are interrogated for all our choices. Yeah. I think. And as daughters, I know that we both, you grew up with very loving parents. I mean, mine, questionable. But even so, with our different spectrum of how we were raised, there was such an expectation placed on us.
Yes.
I think when we're born into this world, we come out being expected to, like, compensate for the fact that we're females.
Yeah. Yeah. I have this conversation a lot with my best friends. They're in LA, and one of my friends, she too has very common, like very common in a Korean marriage type of issues.
Yeah.
But it's almost like we're always like, is it because we're so capable on our own?
Yeah.
And
it's almost to our detriment.
Very, very. We don't allow enough grace to our partners because it's like we're so used to having to rise to the occasion and get the job done. And we will get the job done even when they're not there, and even when they're not with us. But
especially when you feel you're like that, disgruntled, overworked employee.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the newbie just sitting around on their ass and like doing nothing.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean,
but we have to literally. I mean, you know what? But
some of it is like it's I'm an enabler of myself being that way. Yeah,
I'm not. I fuck up all the time,
which is why I think you're way more evolved than I am, and I would always say I'm trying to get to where you are.
You will.
Yeah. Okay.
You get to a point of exhaustion where you just do not give a fuck. And that's where I'm at. I feel like I'm always on just survive. I'm doing the bare minimum. My kitchen is like piled with the dishes. Mm-hmm. Like the kids are in their pajamas all day. Uh-huh. I'm like, watch some TV. Yeah. Do some pad time. Listen.
I will say that that was me this week.
Yeah.
Like, we need to get through this week.
Yeah.
Where there's no school.
Being at home.
Yeah.
I can't think.
But I was thinking about this yesterday. I'm like, man, I think, so there's a lot of talk these days about default parent, right? Whoever is, has the job of.
That does seem like a very popular topic right now. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I was like, man, everybody, each parent should have a season where they have to be the default parent and take care of
like an actual role. Yeah. That way, that's the only way.
Like I woke up super early yesterday, which is why I was so tired today, is I woke up super early yesterday. Ben's like, why did you wake up so early? He's getting ready for work. I'm like, oh, I just had this thought. And he's like, what? I'm like, I have to enroll Bennett in Korean school. Like we can no longer do the online classes. It's not rigorous enough, and they're raising the prices. I'm like, it's not smart. So I had to get out of bed, and I.
Did you even have an alarm set, or did you just
have my alarm set?
But you
normally
instinctively
I snooze, and because it's break, I don't have to be up to get them to school. But I couldn't sleep because of that thought, and he's like, so you woke up because of that. I'm like, yeah, I could no longer sleep. It's just on my mind, and so I had to like do research about that. And then, when the kids are home from break and you're the parent that stays at home, I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to feed them breakfast. And then a couple hours later, I'm like, what are we going to eat for lunch? And then, I got to take them to piano. Like, I got to. And so, I was like,
I just
man.
realized Adonis was the default parent when he was laid off.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I got to sleep in. And now I don't have that anymore because he went back to work and I...
Is he happier at work or...
Oh, he's miserable. Oh, he would rather be a house dad.
Yeah.
He's like, why can't you make money? I'm like, because my skill sets, it's not...
Ben, too, he's wanting to, work less and...
Yeah. No, he loved being a house dad. He would get them ready for school. He would pack their lunch. He would go to their PTA shit. I mean, I never did that anyway, but... Yeah. Now I'm like, oh, this is why I'm all out of sorts. I got used to that life. And it's been taken away from me. And now I'm back to schmucking it. and just the house has gone to shit.
Yeah.
And our cars are broken down. It's just it's mayhem. But there is no the one thing that is good entering into 40s, like you said, there is no destination. There is no arriving anywhere. Yeah. It's just this is us.
Yes. Yeah.
And you find a way to enjoy these moments because that's all you have.
Yeah. I think we're entering a new chapter because the kids our kids are
more self-sufficient.
Fully kids now. It's not,
it's
when
so nice.
We were in survival mode when they were babies and toddlers and then throughout
you have breathing
the
room now.
Pandemic. But now it's a little bit easier. And that's also a big factor in allowing us to pursue therapy. Is we have the bandwidth now to focus on us.
I'm so
get
proud
back
of
to
you
focusing
guys.
on us. So
sometimes have you heard the thing where I'm not saying this about you now, obviously, but I think some couples have fear about going to couples therapy because they think that it leads to divorce.
Yeah, that's a very real fear.
Yeah, and it's like, no, it doesn't. I mean, you hear about those things a lot, but there's plenty. I just want to put it out there, world. There's plenty of couples that go to couples therapy and continue to go, and they live better, healthy lives.
And that's what I hope for is, maybe the sessions become less frequent.
Yeah.
But I think it's always good to do that because you're going through all the motions. You're busy day to day. So in between the 2 weeks between our sessions, a lot happens.
Yeah.
So there may be sessions where it's pretty uneventful and we're just talking, okay, what's coming up? How can we kind of be preemptive.
Preventative,
Yeah, about certain conflicts that could potentially come up. For example, like when we fly home for the holidays.
Oh, yeah. Are you nervous?
I'm a little nervous, but I have some tools now.
Yeah.
Right? And
what are you nervous about? It's your family you're seeing mostly.
Yeah. I mean, I'm always nervous when it comes to being
back home
with family because of like old triggers and stuff. And the pressure for it to be positive.
Yeah. And do everything you're supposed to have done. And everybody feels good. You guys feel,
So I don't think that pressure will ever go away.
No, it's part. It's because you care.
Yeah, and it's like learning to live with it, and then learning to. For me, it's like, okay, I'm not going to let those intrusive thoughts of I'm alone in this, and then I will let myself be supported.
Where do you think that comes from? Your fear of?
I think it comes from
because
how I was raised.
you were managing the fam.
I think I felt I couldn't make a mistake. And I couldn't have
You're the oldest, and
emotions.
Your parents were both away. You were raising the siblings.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
probably where it comes from.
Yeah. You had to, I've known.
My mom is also the oldest. So I see a lot of
her traits.
Her in me.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like that history repeating itself.
Yeah. I think we both want what, I mean, probably a lot of parents of our generation, we want our kids to be raised free.
Yeah.
Like not have those burdens. What is that like to be a real child and not?
That's what I try to, it's hard because Bennett
so
already is 9. He's almost 10. And he takes on my feelings of stress very easily.
I know.
And tries to relieve
my
me
kids
of
are
that.
My kids are the same.
And
I'm like, you don't have to do that.
I'm constantly telling him, you don't have to worry about that. That's my job.
Yeah.
Don't worry. Like, that's my job. I don't want you guys to
But
have that stress.
but then again, some element
it
it's
is very sweet.
compassion.
Yes.
And you do want your kids to care.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so hard to find.
It is really hard.
You get scared. You're like, I don't want them to end up like me and,
yeah,
stressed about coming home. I mean, they won't. They won't, Jane.
Yeah. I want my family to know that it's not them. It's just, it's a lot.
For the record,
yeah.
I know I say this to you all the time. You are an inspiration in motherhood and partnership. You really are. And you're younger than me. And I don't know how you always look so put together. I literally roll out of my bed and I'm like, the hair is doing the hair, and I just show up.
But you're ready to go. You show up and you're ready to go.
You,
I need like hours of, getting in the
mode. You still wake up at 4 a.m., 5 a.m.?
No, I mean, when we work on the days we go to the gym, so we go to the gym together now, me and Ben. We roll
you guys,
out.
When I found out
roll
Jane
out of bed and into the car.
Goes to the gym at 5 a.m., I was like,
that's the only time I can motivate myself to go, because I'm not going in the middle of the day.
But you're doing great, Jane. You're doing great. And we don't...
I would recommend therapy to...
Yes.
Everybody and anybody.
Get therapy.
Because you don't want to... And it's... Yeah. People always think it's like... in catastrophe that you seek it.
No, you do it preventative. And it does not all lead to divorce. You just don't hear about the ones... you hear more about the failures than you hear about the successes.
That's true.
So get therapy. Yeah. It's for everyone. I know it's a privilege, but if you can manage it, get it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you are leading by example. Okay.
All right. Unda para Yeochin.